Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. After the video last night and the release of the version 7.1 beta of the No Nonsense Forex Trade Assistant, I thought I'd do a follow-up video just to give you a few tips and tricks on using the strategy tester in MT4. It seems not a lot of people have actually used this before or really understands how it works and what it's about. So let's have a quick look at that and we'll get into it now. So first things first, I want to show you how to set up a chart that will appear when you're running strategy tester in visual mode. And that's really simple. So say you've got an algorithm here that you've worked on, you want to do some testing on it. That's cool. So all you do is you save that as a file called TEESTER tester. If it exists, just override it. What that means is that when the test environment is loaded, these indicators are also loaded with the settings that you want to use. So basically it just helps you having to load a template later. And to give you an example, say I just get an environment set up here, I click start, bang, you can see these are the same indicators that I had on the normal chart. It says we're in test mode here. So if we start it, you can see it just loads the indicators as you normally would expect. So it's just a shortcut. If you also wanted to load a template from there, you could also do that as well. Just pick any template and it will load it here for you. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, not a lot of people know this unless they've done some extensive testing. This spread indicator here, a couple of things about it. One, that is points, not pips. So that is very important to understand that. So at the moment, I've got 10 points in there. The strategy tester calls it pips, okay, but it's points. So just understand that it's really important. So say you've got a symbol that has an average of 4 pips spread on there, you need to make that 40. And I know it's counterintuitive and I agree with you, but it's, I didn't create this, I'm just using the tools provided to me. So just remember that, okay? Another thing with the spread is you have an option here to use current, and that's fine if the markets are open. What it will do is it will look at your symbol. So I've got pound Kiwi here. It'll look at that. It'll look at the spread that is active on the symbol at the moment that you click start, and that's fine. That that gives you a good average, I guess. If you're doing quite a few tests on that symbol, it will it'll sort of work itself out in the wash. But if you use current on the weekend when the market is closed, that does not work, and it can be radically different to what you're expecting. So in this instance, know in your head, okay, the average spread for this symbol, and you'll know this from your research that you've been doing and you've been watching the live markets and demo trading and things like that. You'll know that maybe the average spread for this, it might be, I don't know, it might be 10, it might be 15. It's kind of up to you guys to work that out. Type it in down here manually. All right, do that. Save yourself a lot of headache, because you'll do tests over the weekend. You'll spend your precious time going through everything, trying to work it out, and it just doesn't work, and you're freaking out and you don't know what's going on. This is the reason why. Okay, manually set your spread on the weekend. Don't believe me? Go Google it. It's a thing. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was so when you first load, let me try this, just get anything here. So when you first load it, the strategy tester, which is this button up here, sorry, this button here, you have to select the tool that you want to do testing with. So we want to test with a 7.01 beta, so you make sure you put that in there. Here is the symbol that you want to test with, so you can pick out of all the symbols that are available on your broker. If you're not sure about that, have a look at your market watch. You'll see a bajillion symbols there. You can also trim it down by clicking hide all. It will hide all the symbols that aren't active or have been active recently, I believe, on your chart. Now there looks like on your platform, sorry, it looks like there's a lot of symbols here. There's actually not. There's 28 plus a couple of extras that I have, and if we're not sure about that, I can show you, because my symbol changer here has all of those listed. But all the 28 plus, I've got I've got gold and silver here, and I've got indices here, DAX indices. So that's what I've got showing here, and that is a way to trim down the list of symbols that you don't want to be, you don't want to see everything there all the time. The next model option here is modeling. So you've got a lot of options here, but we're just going to test on open prices. It's essentially the fastest way. It's not the most accurate way. I'm not going to get into an argument with people. All I want to do is see when the candle crosses my baseline, or when my other indicators line up and I enter a trade, is it going to do what I think it's going to do? All right. This is what I'm talking about. So with the testing, I don't want to get down to the nitty-gritty of testing every single tick, especially on an hourly chart. That takes forever. Now, if you are fully testing a 100% automated system, you can do that, because you can click start, all right, and you can walk away. It's going to enter the trades for you. It's going to do everything for you, but we're not doing that. We are manually testing over the weekend using the strategy tester. So that's what I'm talking about here. Next thing to talk about is your period, which is the daily chart. If you want that, you can set your range that you want to test with, but most importantly, now this might not show up because MT4 sucks and it hides it. So you can see here, can't see it, I can't figure out, oh, it's not working. It is working, it's just you need to grab this bar, pull it up so you can see this. So when you tick visual mode, what happens is it loads the chart with your template and lets you see what's happening on the chart. If you don't tick visual mode, it does it all in the background. It saves a lot of time, saves a lot of CPU power, things like that if you're 100% automated testing. But we don't want that. We are manually testing. So you make sure you drag up this bar, select visual mode. So something else to look at is the expert properties button. So if we click that, it brings up all the properties that are available typically in the expert here, plus a few other columns. So all we're worried about is this value column. That is the parameters, the inputs of the expert that we're testing. These other buttons here, columns here, these are for optimization in the strategy tester. We're not worried about that right now. It's for fully automated optimization, which we're not doing, so we're not going to worry about it. But here, if you want to change the settings, say you want to start with some higher risk on there, you can change it in here. And so if we change those, it should turn up as 4% risk on the expert when we start it. That's because trade 1 risk is 2, trade 2 risk is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, last time I checked. So once you've got all that going, and that's okay, don't forget, drop your speed right down. We don't want it to go automatic. We're going to manually do this, and we're going to click start. So we'll maximize the screen. So you can see here, it's got our 4% risk. Didn't want that, but it was an example for you. Now to move things forward, I'm going to do something off screen that you can't see. I'm going to press the F12 button on my keyboard. So as I do that, it's moving one candle at a time. Okay, so I can watch it, keep watching it. Okay, so maybe I want to take that, so I'm going to sell here, and then as I go, you can see it actually opens on the next candle, which is a pain in the ass. I really don't like it, but it's MT4's the way it's dealing with these open prices. I can't really do much about that. If I figure out a workaround, I'll definitely update the tool, but for now we just have to accept that and move on. So your entries might be a little late, but I can't really do much with that. So then we just keep tapping. So every time we see this chart update now, it's because I'm tapping that F12 button. Tap, tap. All right, I'm advancing one candle at a time. We can see that trailing stops moving, keeps going, and then eventually, okay, so we got taken out on a little pullback. We can keep going, see what happens. Find another. Probably should have bought there if I was going to do that. The indicators lining up, but really I'm focusing on the example I'm doing at the moment. And that's it. So we can click stop now. Or we can keep going all the way to the end. I'm not going to do that for this example. So once that's done, we can look at some things here. We can say, right, let's look at the overall results. Okay, this is my overall profit. If I wanted to, we can look at a graph. All right, we only did 2 trades. Well, technically one position, but 2 halves. So that's all we really have to show there. And then, you know, the report, we can do that. It shows us, you know, things like short positions 1, it was 2 because I only did 1 trade of 2 positions. We can get a lot more info out of this if we want to drag it up a little bit. All right, shows us our profit, all that kind of stuff. Now, if you're not sure what else you can do, you can save this report and pop up here, and we can just say GBP NZD test. What it does is it saves the report and opens it in a web browser. Okay, so it gives you your inputs here, gives you all your statistical data, gives you a graph. It also shows you, you know, the trade information here. Again, we can see these modifications of the trade are basically the trailing stop following it along. So you know, that's all working fine. So I think that's probably about it for now. I hope that gives you, you know, a bit of a rundown on how to use MT4 and the Trade Assistant together. It is the weekend. You can see prices aren't changing here. Well, that's a visual mode, but if we switch back, you can see prices, there's no change here. We switch to a minute chart. There's nothing going on here. The market's closed. All right, we don't expect anything to happen, but there's been some comments on the Discord about, oh, it's not working on the weekend, I can't figure it out. It's pretty simple, guys, but you know, you do have to learn and understand the tools that we're using here, and we're just sort of working to fit in and make these tools operate. So that is it for now. I just wanted to have a quick shout out. Had a couple of donations overnight, which was great. I had quite a large one, which didn't expect at all, so that was really good. That's going to help with future developments, but really appreciate any donations that you give. It definitely helps develop the tool. You can see the last couple of updates have been pretty good, adding new features and you know, highly requested options. So you know, if you can, drop a donation. There's no expectation that you do, but it definitely does help out the product. Alright guys, that's it for now. I will catch you all again later.